As tariffs on foreign imports begin to take effect, there's been rumors circulating online that ports have been seeing fewer cargo vessels, and the port of Seattle is turning into a ghost town.
Because business has slowed down, as you mentioned,
in China.
But we're seeing as a result, the ports here in the US, the traffic has really slowed, and now thousands of dock workers and truck drivers are worried about
It began softly, with no alarms or breaking news banners, just a name deleted from a shipment schedule, followed by another, then 10 more. Before anybody in Washington could respond, the devastation had already spread through the ports, across the trains, and deep into the veins of the world economy. As of June 10th, 2025, 7 major ports across the world had canceled scheduled cargo from the United States. Entire containers of agricultural supplies, electronics, automobile components, and consumer products are prevented, diverted, or just denied. And what caused it was not a natural calamity or a cyber attack, but policy, tariffs, and retaliation. This isn't a supply chain issue. It's a political escalation turned economic weapon. At the port of Los Angeles, the figures speak for themselves. 10 vessel arrivals anticipated during the first 2 weeks of June were canceled, with no replacements. This is greater than the total number of cancellations observed at the port in 2024, and it's not isolated. Long Beach, Oakland, Savannah, and New Jersey. Each week, blank sailings pile up as container ships from Asia fail to arrive. Even worse, turn around before docking. But it's not only about what's not coming, it's also about what's no longer going. Retaliation is taking place all throughout the Pacific. China has begun to replace U.S. agricultural supplies with contracts from Brazil. Soybeans, traditionally a mainstay of West Coast export routes, are now being loaded in South America. California ports, which once processed hundreds of tons of grain every week, are reporting calm terminals. One agricultural economist put it clearly: even a 10% Chinese tariff on U.S. crops is enough to halt shipments completely. And this is only the beginning. Major ocean carriers, including Mediterranean Shipping Company, Costco, and Ocean Network Express, have stopped at least 6 weekly voyages between Asia and the United States. These routes transported over 25,000 40-foot containers every week. The capacity has just vanished, leaving the canceled status till further notice. The formal phrase is blank sailings. But what it actually implies is this: thousands of companies across the United States are currently waiting for supplies that are no longer arriving. Blank sailings have reached historic highs. In early May, roughly 1/4 of all scheduled trans-Pacific journeys were canceled. That figure has only risen since. Importers will experience delays. For exporters, this entails orders without transportation. For ports, this implies idle cranes and vacant berths. For the economy, this indicates a slowdown caused by retaliation rather than a recession. Here's what a trade war looks like in real time. The decline is affecting both maritime and air freight. On May 2nd, China removed its exemption for low-value air exports. What was the result? Air cargo capacity from China and Hong Kong to the United States fell by more than 25% in a couple of days. Direct flights carrying electronics, clothing, and small machinery have dried up. E-commerce businesses were compelled to postpone or cancel shipments. Retailers around the United States reported shortages. This is not guesswork, it is measurable, and it's growing worse. What distinguishes this moment is not the number of cancellations, but the synchronization. Multiple ports in Asia, North America, and even portions of Europe are increasingly changing their schedules explicitly to avoid exposure to U.S.-bound freight. This means fewer reservations, fewer containers, and less traffic. In logistics, less traffic implies less money, fewer employees, and less confidence. Ocean carriers are responding in the only way they can, by reducing capacity. Fewer ships, fewer routes, and when they do sail, they are no longer packed. Exporters in the United States are seeing their contracts evaporate. Shipments of grain, poultry, and chemical items that used to move consistently are now idle. Some are being redirected through Canada or Mexico in a desperate bid to avoid duty. Others are just getting canceled. California's soybean exports to China have essentially collapsed. Shipments have not slowed but have halted. Brazil currently controls that trading route. Producers in the United States, who are already under pressure from growing input prices, are now confronted with an unrecoverable market. This isn't simply agriculture. Heavy machinery companies in the Midwest are reporting orders that have halted. Farm equipment that should be passing via ports is stored in warehouses. Steel supplies to worldwide clients are being rerouted. In certain circumstances, delays are indefinite. In others, items were sold at a loss to domestic purchasers in order to clear inventory. There are far-reaching consequences. Rail traffic is decreasing. Transportation volume is declining. Warehouses are overflowing with items that cannot be moved, and this stagnation is affecting the overall economy. Retailers have reported inventory shortfalls. Electronics makers claim component shipping delays are causing manufacturing to halt. Auto component providers are warning about shortages. In the backdrop, inflationary pressures are rising, not due to high demand, but due to a lack of supply. According to one industry expert, we are not only running out of components, but also out of lanes. Tariffs are about to become more than just a political tool. This is the point where they reshape the map. At the consumer level, the impact is beginning to emerge. Delays in electronics, higher import pricing, and a smaller availability in important areas, such as appliances, home renovation, and vehicle accessories. These are not luxuries. They are daily necessities. The strain increases with each day that shipments are canceled. The trade war, which was once a topic of debate on television news, is now playing out in grocery shops, hardware retailers, and mechanic garages. Prices rise while availability declines. Buyers are left wondering what has changed. The solution is simple. The flow halted. And it stopped because the world is reacting to a plan with no defined guidelines. China has moved past reciprocal tariffs. It is currently disrupting supply chains through license delays, customs slowdowns, and regulatory inspections. Southeast Asian ports are discreetly deprioritizing U.S.-bound shipments. European terminals are causing delays in transit clearances. In the United States, ports are reducing labor hours as traffic levels decline. This is not a transitory inconvenience. It is a fundamental upheaval. And it's not the first time the globe has witnessed anything like this. As a result of the 1970s oil embargo, the global supply system was forced to be reconfigured. Following the 2008 financial crisis, the system contracted due to stress. And during the 2020 epidemic, supply networks broke on both ends, demand shocks and mobility limits. But what we're seeing now is different. This is a man-made economic embargo, one founded on premeditated revenge and shattered confidence, rather than health concerns or fuel shortages. Unlike earlier shocks, there is no natural ending, medical breakthrough, or market recovery, only more policy, leverage, and risk. Small firms face existential danger. Thousands of import-dependent businesses, ranging from furniture stores to automobile dealerships, are unable to forecast what inventory they will get, when it will arrive, or how much it will cost. Business owners are compelled to quote consumers using three distinct price structures. One if the item comes without tariffs, another if it is damaged during shipment, and a third if the order is completely canceled. This uncertainty is weakening trust in the commercial sector. Planning cycles are shortening. Hiring plans are being canceled. Expansion initiatives are being canceled. Even the middle class is feeling it. When shipping routes fail, prices soar. When prices rise, credit card balances increase. When salaries fail to keep up, budgets shrink. One canceled trip equals one missed dental visit. One postponed automobile purchase leads to another year of failed tires. These aren't theoretical dominoes. They're already tilting. With freight volumes falling, logistics businesses are planning for layoffs. FedEx, UPS, and other smaller carriers have discreetly disclosed intentions to slash their workforce in their freight departments. Trucking companies are stopping routes. Dispatch software platforms claim lower load volumes. And container chassis producers are warning that idle inventory has reached levels not seen since the peak of the outbreak. Despite this, no clear strategy exists to change direction. Tariffs remain in place. The retaliations worsen. The carriers adjust. The customers lose. What happens next isn't about diplomacy. It's all about supply. The question is not whether the system will react, but how much damage it will sustain along the way. This is more than simply a narrative about ships. This is a story about shelves. If you found this video useful, please like it, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss out on future videos.